This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane? This is a sham.
No.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Erica. We are looking back at some of the best moments from our show, and today that includes some of the best moments from our very own Erica Cobb.
What?
Mm-hmm. If anyone doesn't know already, Erica's a huge Housewives fan. Let's take a look at her getting Al and Jeff up to speed on the Erica Jane
I know this. I remember
on the
this.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Take a look.
Let me catch you up. All right, so here's what's going on. So Erica Jane, of course, we've talked about it. Her husband, Tom Girardi, is accused of stealing like $101 million from the trustees of burn victims, orphans, and widows.
Wow.
Right? Now, Erica Jane is now stood accused of spending about $20 to $25 million of that money, which Tom Girardi threw into her EJ Global account, Erica Jane Global, LLC, right? So now she seems to be on the hook as well, although she may have known, may not have known, and that's something we're still trying to figure out because the season is absolutely still playing out. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Kyle Richards throws the grenade and hides her hands. She did it with Lisa Vanderpump because she was the one that spread this rumor and then got Lisa to basically leave the show because Lisa was like, I'm not dealing with you. And to this day, Lisa still doesn't deal with her. But what Lisa did do is reveal reluctantly, okay, that Kyle was the one that at Andy Cohen's baby shower, where all the housewives were there, Kyle was telling everyone that Erica Jane was in financial legal trouble with Tom Girardi. How did Kyle Richards know this? Well, we know that for a fact because Bethany Frankel went on her podcast and told us that she told not only Kyle Richards and also Lisa Rinna. Now, the interesting thing about this is the fact that Lisa Rinna and Kyle are trying to pretend like they're friends with Erica. Now, my theory is it's because this is a big Hollywood scandal, and 20 years from now, everyone's going to remember the players. So now Lisa Rinna and Kyle Richards are going to have their name in this thing without actually being involved in this story. It's actually like PR gold at the root of it. But I'm just saying, Kyle Richards is not innocent. And if she's going to act innocent, her days are going to be numbered because we all see through it. We all see through it.
We all see.
Erica, what are you thinking, girl?
My grandmama said I came out the womb talking, and we all know that's true.
But
Yeah.
it was no
good.
filler though. It was every sentence was its own contained fact. I feel caught up.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I
It really
dig it.
is. Next, Erica came after the writer.
Kat, there's more.
Yes. And we are enjoying all of it. Erica came after the writer of Sex and the City after she said the show wasn't feminist. Take a look.
Girl, you already
Erica, you
roped
speak
us
for
in and made your
everyone.
whole bag. Don't ruin this for us,
What are you
okay?
doing?
Every time we got to talk about feminism.
Seriously.
You know, a lot of us have very different definitions as to what feminism means.
Thank you.
So if feminism means to us like, I want to get my bag, I want to get my man, I want to get the ring, I want to be living on the Upper East Side, I want to do all the things.
Yes.
Let me have my feminism.
Agreed.
Okay?
And
It's all about choice. It's the freedom to do what makes us happy. And if
you.
we're going to watch your show, which you have profited on, don't come back and be like, oh, well, this isn't really the healthiest thing. Well, why'd you give that to us?
I agree.
We had to interpret that. That was art, okay?
I completely agree.
It was art. It was meant to be subjective and interpretive. So now we've interpreted, we used it for our very own narratives, and here we are. I don't want to have a conversation about feminism and Sex and the City. I just want to enjoy it.
That's a good point, Erica.
I think she speaks for a lot of people.
She is me, and I am her, and I'm going to stand beside her.
We got a spin-off.
I know.
We got a spin-off show
I
going.
already said, if Erica, I don't think you're on TikTok. You need to get on TikTok. and break it down.
Actually, there may be an announcement soon. There's some things are brewing.
Everybody tune into Erica's Instagram where she will have an announcement soon, right? Coming up on DBL, the dynamic brother duo Justin and Christian Long. They tell us all about their new movie Next and Chatting with the Stars. And a lie that led to a man's 27-year prison sentence, how he's turning his life around after being wrongfully convicted of murder.
Closed captioning provided by
Listen, this past couple of years has been so crazy. Let's express gratitude for this year and all of the amazing gifts that are coming in 2022.
This year, let's try and put aside all of our differences and just be together and really be present in the moment.
From the Showman's Happy Holidays.
From me and my family, we truly want to thank you over the years how much support you've given me and our whole team.
I know the holiday season can be difficult for some, and I just want to let you all know that you're not alone, and I'm wishing you a holiday season full of love and light.
From all of us here at Daily Blast Live,
We want to wish you
Happy holidays
Happy holidays.
and a healthy new year.
and my baby said happy holidays.
The box office is bouncing back, but we may never see the same crowds at movie theaters again. Let's connect the dots. A new study from the film research company The Quorum found nearly half of former moviegoers are no longer going to theaters. And there's a few reasons why. Concerns over the pandemic are at the top of the list. With a new COVID variant and no vaccine required at most theaters, many people said they just don't feel safe. Others say that going to the movies just isn't worth the price of admission. High ticket and concession prices have caused complaints for years, and researchers say lots of folks just don't want to pay anymore after staying home for so long. And many of the biggest blockbusters are now available from the comfort of your couch. Warner Brothers made all this year's movies available on streaming the same day they premiered in theaters. Meaning those theaters will have to rethink those strategies to bring back moviegoers. And that is Connecting the Dots.
There you are. Before you say anything, hear me out. I need your help. But not because you're a man, okay?
Okay.
Because you're a nerd.
Oh.
Welcome back to DBL. That was a clip from Lady of the Manor, a movie by Justin and Christian Long. We caught up with them earlier to talk all about it, but we just couldn't help ourselves from asking the brothers those hard-hitting personal questions first. Here's a look back at their interview in today's Chatting with the Stars. Today, we are talking with the filmmakers behind the movie, brothers Justin and Christian Long. So for you both, what's one embarrassing childhood story about the other that you can share?
Oh, easy. I don't think you... Justin
Do it.
pooped his pants when he was in grade school, and then was too afraid to tell the teacher about it, so had to live with it for a couple hours on his clothes.
It was a hot. That's the day it happened.
That's the day.
Yeah, it was a hot day in September too, in Connecticut, and the teacher had to. Yeah, it was really traumatic.
That's an embarrassing day too. That's your high school graduation.
It's like I'm trying to look tough.
Yeah.
It's a day that will live in infamy.
Wearing a pail on set. Yeah, that was embarrassing. Christian once tried to buy a Playboy. Now that we're airing dirty laundry, when he was a child, he had a little pail of like coins that he had saved, and he brought it to the counter. Yeah, coins in a yellow bucket.
Because my big brother talked me into it, so.
Yeah. Because it would have benefited me too to have it in the house.
Childhood curiosity.
Yes. Now we don't care about those things.
Coins.
And we're not pooping our pants as much.
You know what? Congratulations on that.
Exactly.
We all evolve, and that's very
Thank
important
you.
that we take
Thank
the time
you.
to appreciate that, you know? Well, I also appreciate
Thank you.
sibling groups. Yeah, of course, honey. So I'm one of four, and we always call ourselves like a weird sibling group because the dynamics are just so different. It's like, you know, we love you always, but maybe we don't like you right now.
That's right.
So tell us, did you ever get mistaken for twins growing up? What's that dynamic like for you?
You know, I think we've gotten mistaken more for twins as older people, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Because as a kid, I had very blonde hair, and Justin had very dark hair like he has now. So I don't think we got mistaken for twins as kids. We were also 3 years apart, so you were always bigger than me.
Yeah.
But now that we're the same general size, I think.
Yeah, there are times. There have been times in our adult lives where people will say, "Well, no, what do you mean we've met before?" They just assume that we've, and they're confusing us. But not often.
Well,
it doesn't happen very often.
We have different dispositions.
You guys have the same haircut, though. Even the wave goes the same way. Like, you guys look a lot alike.
Yes, true. I should differentiate mine.
Stop it. Stop it. You're not
We look
Bieber.
different.
You
So
are
you don't
not
confuse.
Bieber.
You know, you speak about Judy and Melanie, who obviously also co-star in the movie. And from the clips we've seen, it seems like you guys had a good time filming. Is there any one story that 20 years from now will be the story that sticks out from the making of this movie?
Sorry.
Oh man, so many good ones. The Patrick Duffy story was funny.
Patrick was funny. Yeah. So when I met Patrick Duffy, we had just been dealing with an actor who didn't realize they had to do a Southern accent. The movie takes place in Savannah, and so it's kind of an important aspect of the movie, and we wanted to keep it consistent. And so this one actor was like, what, I have to do a Southern accent? So when Patrick Duffy came, who we were so lucky to have, we couldn't believe he accepted the part. He flew all the way in from Oregon, could not have been nicer, just a gentleman and kind and so game and playful. But I said to him, Christian says I had my director hat on.
Well, you were like trying to be professional, and you were like, "Thank you so much for coming. We're such big fans."
Yeah.
Step by Step was one of my favorite shows. One more thing before I forget: would you be comfortable doing some sort of Southern accent? And there's this long pause, and in the nicest way possible, Patrick Duffy goes, "Yes, I was on a show called Dallas for 13 years."
Dallas.
And Justin was like, "Oh my God, of course, Dallas.
13 years.
Yes.
Yeah, but he said it in the nicest way. He said it without any judgment, or he was very gentle.
I'll never forget that. Really
to your
funny.
point, he is one of the nicest. We've had him on the show.
Yeah,
he's one
he's
of the
lovely.
nicest, most humble guys ever.
Oh man.
And Justin and Christian,
Yeah,
you guys,
truly.
you guys have us in stitches. Thank you for joining us,
Have to
for
come back.
chatting with us. You got to come back here.
Yes.
You guys.
Dude, you guys were awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us. That was really fun. It was
Bye,
fun.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back.
Last month, Jacob Chansley, better known as the QAnon shaman, was sentenced to 41 months in prison for his role in the January 6th insurrection. Chansley pleaded guilty to a felony obstruction charge. Soon after, Verify viewer Kathy asked, "Can some people convicted of felonies from the January 6th insurrection still vote?" So Kathy, let's verify. Our sources are the National Conference of State Legislatures, the American Civil Liberties Union, and the Campaign Legal Center. While the right to vote is overseen by both federal and state governments, only states have rules restricting felons from the ballot box. The ACLU estimates nearly 6 million Americans have lost their right to vote because of a criminal conviction. A lot of it comes down to where the person lives. The NCLS found 48 states disenfranchise felons while in prison. 37 automatically restore their right to vote once felons are released or their sentences are completed. 11 others require additional action to restore voting rights. However, Maine, Vermont, Puerto Rico, and D.C. allow everyone to vote, including inmates. So, it's true. Some people convicted of felonies from the January 6th insurrection can still vote if they live in a state that allows them to do so, and most others will eventually be allowed to vote again. The CLC also notes most states only restrict the voting rights of people convicted of felonies. Roughly 3/4 of people who were convicted in the January 6th insurrection pleaded guilty to misdemeanors. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis. To receive daily fast facts to your phone, text Verify to 202-410-8808. And to sign up for our newsletter, visit verifythis.com/email.
Welcome back to DBL. He went to prison for killing a best friend, but never pulled the trigger. That happened to Earl Trueve, who spoke with him earlier in today's, we spoke with him rather, in today's Freedom Files, wrongfully convicted.
It's Halloween night, 1975. 15-year-old Elliot Porter never makes it home.
He was a close friend of mine, and I know his family.
As police tape off the scene, a crowd gathers. 17-year-old Earl Truvier notices his friend's lifeless body.
And that moved me to go notify his mom. And when I went and knocked on the door, she came to the door and I told her that was her son that they found under the building.
A couple days later, a neighbor calls police with a very detailed story to tell.
She said me and my co-defendant and the victim passed in front of her window while she was on the third floor smoking a cigarette. Get out of her eyesight, and she heard 2 shots.
Earl is arrested and charged with second-degree murder.
Within the 90 days I'm in jail, I write his mom a letter expressing my condolences, and at the end of the letter, I'm telling her I'm an innocent man.
The DA assures Elliot's mom they have the right man. Their case resting solely on the neighbor's testimony. Not only does the witness say she saw Earl with the victim, but she tells a tale so horrific, Earl's legal team is left speechless.
She said that we broke in her apartment and projected threats for her not to go to the police. And she stated that I had put a pistol to her 18-year-old baby head.
After just 14 minutes of deliberations, Earl is found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. At just 18 years old, Earl enters Louisiana State Penitentiary, also known as Angola.
Kill or get killed. And I had to go there with that demeanor.
The teen embraces the prison culture to survive.
I got caught up in the drug game in prison. I had the deputies bringing me drugs.
There's just one thing that stops him from being fully consumed by the darkness.
That was my fight to prove my innocence, no matter how dark it was. But I had just that much light to believe in.
After 25 years in prison, the Innocence Project gets involved in Earl's case. They find secrets about the state's star witness that were never disclosed at Earl's original trial.
Then she was a drug addict, paranoid schizophrenic. She had a criminal history. She stayed in trouble with the law.
His lawyers also discover that the line of sight the witness said she had is in fact blocked by a balcony. The state grants him a new trial.
I told my attorneys I would die in Angola before I plead guilty to make the government right over me. 30 days later, they dismissed the charge.
After 27 years in prison, Earl is a free man.
Earl, welcome to DBL. Okay, so you've said the one thing that haunts you the most is the why. You want to know why the witness lied, but you actually ran into her after your release. So tell us, what happened when you saw her?
I sit right next to her, and I'd say Sheila Robinson. I just called her name out the blue, and she looked at me. And she asked me who I were. I said Earl Truvier. And she dropped with her mouth open, and she jumped up and went in the car with me, and I went behind her. And she started crying, and I embraced her, and I told her it's all right. She brought me before the congregation of the church and told her pastor, this guy did 27 years for a testimony that I gave. He was wrongfully convicted.
Oh my God.
Wow. Earl, you say that the second lie has hurt you even more since you've become a grandfather. Tell us why that is.
Well, at the time, I have a grandchild that's right at 18 months, and her testimony was so devastating after I really learned the collateral damage of it. And when I see my grandson, he loved me dearly. And even all around the world, when I see babies and kids at that moment, it triggers in my head what really the jury had pounded upon, and it took them only 14 minutes to get a guilty verdict. And that was her last testimony that stuck out in their head. An 18-year-old kid being threatened with an overgrown man as myself then at that time, putting a gun to her baby head, and that was my best friend that got killed. Wow. And so I was charged for killing my best friend.
Oh my God.
Earl, I can't imagine the trauma that you have gone through. What a story. And you also said that you learned quickly it was kill or get killed, right, while in prison. How did you show strength?
Yes.
And how did you survive while in prison?
It's just like when you're in Rome, you live like the Rome. So I knew at my age, I had to defend myself because of the male institution that, you know, I used to hear stories about prison, and now I'm in a situation wrongfully. So I have a double burden I have to protect, as well as being a black man, and the way the prison is designed, that's what it was, only the strong survive. And to test my strength, I had to live just like a gladiator. And I had a couple of altercations. I had to, you know, defend myself and resorted to additional charges. But at that early stage, I was still having a psychological impact upon me. I'm here, and anything that rubbed me wrong, I mean, I had to defend to the best of my ability. I thank God I had my faith in a prayer life and to keep my strength and my sanity, and that basically contained me having a prayer life and trusting God through it all.
All right. Well, Earl, thank you for sharing your story and for the transparency. Wow. We'll be right back.
That sound means it's time to verify. Are you hot-natured or cold-blooded? It's quite interesting how two people can be in the same environment for the same period of time, and one will be taking off layers while the other is reaching for a sweater and space heater.
It's that time of year again. It's cold, like really cold. But it's not as cold as it is where I'm from, which is New Jersey. I thought that the warmer winters would feel a little better. They don't. It's still freezing. My dad says when I moved from somewhere cold to somewhere warm, my blood thinned. Is that true?
To verify, I consulted the Mayo Clinic and heard from Dr. P.J. Miller, assistant professor of hematology and oncology at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist. They conclude the claim is false.
So this is actually what we'd refer to as an old wives' tale, meaning there is no significant medical evidence behind this question that actually happens. But even with saying that, that is something that a lot of people do experience temperature differently when moving from a northern climate to a southern climate. And a lot of that just has to do with the perception and getting used to a warmer climate or getting used to a colder climate.
That said, your blood pressure can change with climate. Mayo Clinic found blood pressure is generally higher in the winter and lower in the summer. Low temperatures cause blood vessels to narrow, so your blood needs more pressure to move through the thinner veins and arteries. That doesn't mean your blood thickness is changing, even though it's reasonable for you to think so.
I myself grew up in New England, and then I actually lived in the Mid-Atlantic for a while before living in a tropical climate for a couple years. And now I live in North Carolina. And I do remember the first time that I traveled from the tropical climate back to a New England winter and remembering how truly cold that winter was. But that, again, was all perception.
So in conclusion, we verified Tom's claim is false. No, your blood does not thin moving from a warmer climate to a colder one or vice versa. Maybe you're not properly dressed for it either. With your Verify, I'm Megan Malaris.
A decision on the Supreme Court's latest abortion case is not expected for months, but if the conservative majority agrees with Mississippi's law, it would almost immediately have a major impact on a huge part of the country. 21 states could almost immediately ban or curtail access to abortions if the Supreme Court chooses to overturn or weaken Roe v. Wade. 12 states have so-called trigger laws that go into effect if Roe v. Wade is overturned or weakened. Most would ban abortion outright, while some include limited exceptions. For instance, back in June, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a new law that would almost immediately outlaw abortions and threaten doctors who perform them with life in prison or a $100,000 fine. And it's not just trigger laws. Another 9 states will have pre-Roe abortion bans that could once again become enforceable if Roe v. Wade is struck down. The court isn't expected to release their final ruling until this summer.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your questions. These questions are about us. Okay, Anna wants to know, Sam and Jeff.
Ooh.
What's the easiest meal you make for your kids that they will eat?
That's a good parenting question.
Do you want mine first?
Yes.
Pizza's the easiest, but if I have to get hands-on, they've been crushing grilled cheese lately.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sophie loves a good grilled cheese. For me, it's all about the Annie's or the Amy's. There's 2, Annie's and Amy's mac and cheeses by the box.
Sam, you took the words out of my mouth. That Amy's mac and cheese or Annie's mac and cheese.
Both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, they're a lifesaver, let me tell you. Okay, this next question is for you, Al, from Louise. What's the most embarrassing thing that happened to you on TV? I can't wait.
Besides blind date, blind dates up there, and then like
that was MTV.
That was blind date was Spike.
Okay.
Yes, MTV. Yeah, I did something embarrassing on there too. For me, it would probably be I'm wearing a ridiculous sweater in my half-hour special. It's because I didn't realize that shirts moire on camera, like ones with checkers. So like an hour before I was about to shoot my first television stand-up, they were like, "Your shirt doesn't work." So we were in Columbus Circle in New York. We had to go to like the Gap. I get this ridiculous like teacher, substitute teacher, no flavor. So I'm wearing that forever on television.
Is that Comedy Central special?
Yes.
Yeah.
Way to tell people where to find it, Erica.
Well, hello. Yes, and also you could check out Monday on iTunes by Al Jackson as well.
Okay, Erica, this one's for you. Dana has a question for Erica. Would you go on Real Housewives of Denver?
These are good questions.
I've been saying this for Erica since I met her.
I really don't think I would be a great housewife.
You're crazy.
I don't.
Go viral, Erica.
I really don't think that the formula that makes a great housewife is really me. I don't.
It might not be.
The audience disagrees.
Yeah. And Jeff, see, because Erica is who she is, who she presents to be, and you'll be cruising along like, hey, we'll do the show. It'll be fun. We'll get some press, and somebody's gonna come at you sideways.
Yep.
And that's gonna change everything. And then like all the things you've been studying, like a karate master, it's gonna come out.
I don't know about that last metaphor.
She is. She's been studying the show. She knows moves.
Somebody make that happen. I want to see Erica.
Oh my gosh.
One more question for me. Sam, what music are you listening to on your drive home? I'm really into Prayers right now. Prayers is Kat Von D's husband. I sent Erica.
So good.
You sent me that song last night.
So good. Cholo goth, and that's really a thing. I'm not saying anything derogatory. That's the culture that he embodies, Cholo goth. And he's very punk rock, but very progressive in his lyrics. Love him. Prayers. Check out Prayers.
I thought you said cello goth. I'm like,
Cholo.
who's that?
Cholo.
I got
He's
it now.
from
I'm like, who are you offending? I got it.
And now we've identified
those aggressive cello players.
Bye, guys.